My oldest daughter has turned 11, and she's in 6th grade in middle school. And I can tell that puberty is beginning with her. She's crazy. And she's mean as a snake. And we're scared to death of her, but we just tiptoe around her. She cries a lot. She doesn't know why, and she tells us, I don't know why I'm crying. And we just try to get through it. But I'm telling you, she can run a household. She's a grown woman. She has been ever since she got here. So I said, you're going to have to come in here, baby. I said, your daddy's going to take care of y'all. I'm going to Nashville for like 3 days. She bust out crying. I said, what's wrong? She said, don't leave us with him. He doesn't know where the food is. I said, well, that's why you're in charge. And she is. God love her. But my girls are emotional, and I don't mean to talk about them because I love them, and I know they'll visit me in the nursing home. But they are lunatics. My husband says they're psycho, and they need therapy. And I'll give you all an example. I can be in the pickup line at school, and this has happened when they were in 1st grade, and it happens every day when I pick them up at school now. I'm sitting in the pickup line, and I can see them come out, and they are in a good mood. And they're goosing each other and giggling and doing and talking and having a good time. They're waving to the teachers and the principal. See you tomorrow. Okay. Then they come over to my vehicle. Get in. Shut the door. My 11-year-old take her backpack and sling it and hit me in the back of the head with it. Every day she says something like this. I'm starving to death. You don't have a piece of cheese in this car? Your driving's making me car sick. I hate her. Why'd you have her? And then my baby will be sitting up there in a daze. She'll be going, Mama, 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 Mama. What? Mama, Mama, Mama. What? I'm listening. She asked me some of the craziest things. One day she said to me, did Jesus ever have head lice? How do you answer something like that? I said, well, baby, if he did, I know he healed it. And then my girls would be whipping each other in the back seat and telling each other how bad they hate each other and they wished each other were dead. And then my sweet boy will come out. He'll get in and he'll say, you know, they're building a new Home Depot up on 281. Just as happy-go-lucky. He's just like this. He's been like that all of his life. He's 14. He's never sassed me. I know people say it's coming. I'm telling you, I don't think it will. And I'm in love with him. My husband says I have an unhealthy obsession with him. Whatever. And I tell you, for you little mamas out there, you young mamas that are going through, got a bunch of little children vomiting in the carpet, peeing in the closet. When you're trying to pee and they like slide ham under the door and say, can you open this, Mom? I know what y'all want for Mother's Day. Y'all want an Ambien and a hotel room. I hope y'all get it. I hope y'all get it. When you get to be my age, and I'm 51 years old, honey, you beg your little children to come home and be up your butthole. I beg them and try to hold money over their head. All right, but they're all home. I'm so thankful, so grateful. Okay, y'all, we got a big night ahead of us. Y'all are precious. I want to talk to y'all about, because I am 51 and going through hormonal changes. Okay, I am with their daddy, and these children all walked off and left me with him. And he's so not fun. And he can't help it. He's that way because he has to make a living for all of us. And he's got a lot on us, and all the money's going out the window. And, you know, because we got 2 in college. We just had 1 get married. But he and I are having to adjust being together for the first time in how many years, you know, before we got married. And so he sends me emoji, kissy faces, and stuff like that. But I am low on progesterone and testosterone. He's low on testosterone, praise God. Bathing suit season, Lord. I've always worn a miracle suit, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, but I did a show for a group here in Knoxville named were Darling. And after I did it, a woman came up to me and she goes, Leanne, are you not going to Sears and buying you a swim dress? And I thought, well, I didn't know my life was over. So she said, you need to go to Sears or order it online with Land's End. And it's a swim dress. She goes, you're going to love it. I promise you. Okay, so I go to Sears at West Town Mall. When's the last time any of y'all went to Sears at West Town Mall? There's not a soul in the West Town Mall Sears. They've got the lights on. There's nobody working. There's nobody there shopping. I swear I think they're running dope out of Sears. But I got me a swim dress, and I am beautiful in it. And I'll tell you why, because it shows my arms. My arms the only thing I've got left living for. And they are my daddy's. Jimmy Fletcher, I got them from him. My sister gets so mad because she didn't get them, and she'll call me and say, you got daddy's arms, and just hang up on me. But this swim dress, okay, it cinches up through here, so it's real flattering right there. And then it comes down and hides all this boogity-boo I got going on right here. And I am beautiful in it. I hate to say that. It kind of looks like Titanic, but for years I wore a miracle suit. Okay, the miracle suit is in Dillard's and Bell, Macy's, or all over. And there'll be hundreds of them in a big area at a department store. And there's a tag hanging from all of them that says, miracle suit. Lose 10 pounds in 10 minutes. And you do, because you sweat yourself to death trying to get it on. Because the miracle suit has a girdle in it. They're one piece. So the girdle is right through here, so it smooths you out real pretty through here. You look really good because it squeezes your fat out in all the other. all the other directions, all the other holes. And I would buy it because I felt desperate and I didn't know what else to do. And I didn't feel pretty in them. And then I'd buy a sarong and wrap it around my whole body. And then sit under an umbrella and act like I was reading. But I bought them every year. I had them all the time. And I look back in videos from vacations and I've got them on and it's awful. Okay, so my girlfriend, the one with poop, you remember her? Okay, she found out that I had one. She was like, oh my gosh, I want one. So she drove down from Greenville, Tennessee. And they went to the Dillards. And she brought her 14-year-old daughter with her, and they got in the dressing room at Dillard's, and the 14-year-old was sacking her mama up in this bathing suit. And her 14-year-old said, Mom, this is so gross. Put it back, let's get out of here. She said, I can't. He came to me in, he was in middle school or high school, and he's very spiritually mature, has always been. I didn't do it. Their daddy didn't do it. God did it. But we call him our little Billy Graham. But anywho, so he was dating a little girl, and he came home, and I said, what y'all been doing? And he said, we've been watching a movie and we were kissing. I said, oh, that's normal. That's okay. But I said, baby, before you know it, one thing can get out of hand. You've got your arm around somebody and then you've got your hand on her leg. Things can get out of control. He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said to me, Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's going to happen. And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship. On a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now. I could get a new purse out of that. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Youth groups. And we've all, here in the South, we've all been raised in church, Did y'all ever go to a lock-in? What little fool came up with that? Y'all know that it was some precious little woman maybe, and they were like, they were in a committee meeting, and she was like, oh gosh, y'all, we need to come up for something for all the hormonal teenagers. I know. We'll put them in the church building and lock the door and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant. Well, all over the United States, they've got this thing called competition cheer. And it's kind of like, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like Honey Boo Boo meets the Olympics. Really. It's gymnast. They're gymnasts. And there's one in Knoxville called the Sharks. And they said, drop your baby off and she can try out to audition, whatever you want to call it. So I dropped her off, and they ended up putting her on a bad Mama Jamma team because all the little children her age came up to hear on her. And somebody's got to throw them up in there. So they were thrilled with her, and they treated us like royalty. But anyway, they said, you're going to come in here twice a week, learn a 2-minute routine. It's going to cost you $150 a month. It's like, okay. They said, there's a uniform that you're going to order, and it comes to here. It's going to expose her stomach. She's going to have a tiny skirt on with a slit in it with a glitter panty underneath it. It's $300. I said, that's a whore outfit. And it came with its own bag of whore makeup. So that all the little children could look alike. And they said, y'all are going to travel to faraway lands and compete against other little whore children. So we went to like Cincinnati or Atlanta. And we had to get hotel rooms and the gas and all of that. And then you drive up to a big coliseum, a huge coliseum. And there's tens of thousands of little whore children walking around. And my husband said, there could be pedophiles here. This is the awfulest thing I've ever, something's not right. Okay, so then they said, you're gonna pay $150 for your baby to be in this competition. You're gonna have to pay $30 to put a band on to get in and watch your baby in this competition. Somebody was selling corn dogs for $15. Okay. They start out with the babies, so it goes from 5 to 18 ages. So the babies come out in a tiny little skirt about the size of a napkin. And they come out to Beyonce's All the Single Ladies. And their little mamas are in their 20s. And they're not bitter yet. And they're in the front doing every move to keep their baby on track because they're babies and they need to be at home breastfeeding. So they move up throughout the day into my baby's age, and they're the reef sharks. They call out that name, honey, for 2.5 minutes. My baby throws little children up in the air, flinging little children, broken out in a sweat, working like a Trojan. Did you see my Spanx? Okay. All right. One of my girls said I look like Miley Cyrus in the Wrecking Ball in my Spanx. But anyway, so she throws his little children up. The little children she's throwing up in the air are the flyers. They call them the flyers. And they're freakishly tiny little children. I don't know where these people come from. Their mamas are freakishly tiny. I mean, I come from big people. I've got thick ankles. I can work in the fields. And the whole time she's throwing them in there, these little girls are going. Knows why, really. So at the end of the routine, after the 2.5 minutes, the finale, everybody hunkers down on the stage, puts their forehead on the stage, and my baby is the finale. She pops up and has a little child's foot in her hand and holds that child's foot. I would put it all the way up, but my dress is tight in the back. But anyway, she holds this little child up over her head. Are y'all listening to me? I mean, it was a big deal. I mean, could you hold her up over your head or vice versa? I mean, you know, it's a big deal. So anyway, everybody went nuts. But she said, after it was over, she goes, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to go back to playing. She ended up playing volleyball the rest of her childhood. But she said, I'm keeping that whore outfit. She said, I'm going to get married. No, he has been a wonderful provider, and he's worked like a dog for us and done without so that we could have. But all that money going out and taking care of a family all those years, that's hard on a man. It's hard on a man. It's made him a real butthole. So, it does not believe in anybody being comfortable, really. He does not believe in luxury. He believes in suffering. And this is one thing that he strongly believes in. He believes in all of our family driving cars until the wheels fall off in the interstate. he finds joy having to come get somebody. All my children have driven old cars that look like they're about to fall apart. This is what he does for me. He'll buy me a car about a year old, pay cash for it, and then make me drive it the rest of my life. I put my foot down last year because I was driving a 2009 white Honda Pilot. If you don't know what that model looks like, it looks like I was delivering Lay's potato chips. And I never felt pretty in it. I really did. It had over 235,000 miles on it. And the lights started flashing in it saying, "Get out, Leanne. Get out." He drives a 2007 Tahoe, and the T and the A are missing. And if I was home tomorrow, we would be pulling up in that big Tahoe to the Baptist church in the doorway. And when church is over, my husband wants out of there and doesn't want to talk to anybody. And see, that's my time to fellowship. And he drives that big old Tahoe up to the front door of the Baptist church and goes, and he always says, "You're the last one in the parking lot." I said, "There's going to be a lot of people at my funeral." I've built relationships with people. He goes, "Okay, fine. I'll have to have mine in a yogurt shop." She's called me today and said, "Mom, are you okay? How did your show go last night?" And I go, "Good." So the day before, she goes, "Did you make it to Huntsville?" I said, "Yes, baby. Thank you. Tell your daddy." Curtis, he was so in love with me, honey. Stalked me, bought me presents, did all that. We will be married 29 years. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I truly believe that he would not pull me out of a burning vehicle. Okay, here's something that's different. Now that they're having little children, so different than when I had mine. There was a book that I read in and out, and I bet a bunch of y'all that are my age read this one too. What to Expect When You're Expecting. Yeah, it was a hateful book. It was a hateful book, but it was true. And they would say things to you like, "You're going to have a hemorrhoid in the 7th month on the 4th day. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon." And you'll be like, it's terrifying. Back then, everybody was terrified about food allergies, and that was a big thing that they stressed, and our pediatricians. And I remember having this whole big chart in my kitchen on the wall that told me, my boy, I wouldn't let him have sweet potatoes until August after I had cleared the squash in July. That just crazy. And I did perfect with him. The second one came along, did okay with her, really did. That third one came along. We were at the McDonald's. I had two playing one in the balls and one up in a tube. And that my baby child did not have any teeth yet. She was in a high chair, and I threw a cheeseburger onto her high chair, and she gummed it down. And a woman came over the intercom and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, but your baby has pooped in the tube." So then I would have to go up in the tube, get my baby, pull my baby down through the tube,
Do y'all remember playing in the balls? My children love the balls. And Lord, we had a ball going. Me and my friends would go to anywhere that they had a bunch of balls and tubes, and little children would be playing in a dirty diaper and swim by on top of the balls. And then like a chicken nugget, they're going through. You think about all this with COVID. There's no way they'd let any of that happen. Good night. You think of Chuck E. Cheese? That was a free-for-all. I loved it. Okay. Let me tell y'all this. Baby food has changed, and I didn't know this. When I was having my babies, you had little baby food jars. They've still got maybe 2 of those on the grocery store thing. Now it's in pouches. Everything's in pouches, and I don't think they're worried about food allergies. My grandbaby had a pouch that had turmeric, cashews, and squash in it, all squished together. And now they don't feed babies with spoons. They just squirt that pouch in their mouth. Everything's on the go. They just squirt and go, squirt and go. And I'm worried about it. I really am. I think there's going to be a whole generation that doesn't know how to use utensils. Okay, the 5 love languages. All right. Me and Chuck Morgan in Sunday school class went on a retreat, and they talked to us about the 5 love languages. You know, and it's written by little Gary Chapman, who is a doll and tiny and does, that man's probably getting in his 90s, and he does sit-ups every day. And that little thing, and I got to meet him later. He was a doll. But anyway, the 5 love languages, if you don't know about that, you've got to get it. There was a 5 love languages for your marriage, and then there's one for your children. And you need to get that. Everybody's got a love language. And you take the test. You got to read the book and take the test. Well, you don't read the book. I didn't. But you can take the test. I like to read books about Hollywood murder. So, anyway, you take the test, and then you can, and your husband takes the test, and you find out what his love language is, and he finds out what your love language is. And if you find that out, then you can feed them their love language. And then, so I can feed Chuck Morgan his love language, and then his love tank feels full. If I don't, he could go to work and be at a water fountain, and some whore comes up to him and starts feeding him his love language, and then he feels a tingle, and then Satan swoops in. So these are the 5 love languages. Quality time. If you may know somebody that just wants you to sit on the couch and watch ESPN with them. Something like that. Then there's gifts. That's my sister's love language. It doesn't have to be something expensive. Just so you thought of her, if you buy her a card and a rose from the grocery store, she'll bawl her eyes out. And then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. But physical touch. Physical touch, which I know every woman in here is like, that's my husband. Physical touch. But it's not that kind of physical touch. We're talking about the physical, when you know people that just want to hug you and squeeze on you and all that all the time. That's their love language, is physical touch. But women think, that's my husband's, and he's on me like a duck on a June bug. But that's not the. All right, and then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. So all Chuck Morgan has to do is say, you look beautiful tonight. You are a good mama. That Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata is to die for. And then my love tank feels full, and then I'm willing to do something vulgar with him. And then he gives me money to get my hair highlighted. See? It works out, It's God's way. And then